Hey everybody, welcome to this Trader User Group, a weekly roundup through the holiday shortened trading week, December 31st, 2020. I guess the rhetorical question I'd ask is, are you ready for 2021? Now, a lot of folks are believing that 2021 is just going to be a barnstormer straight up to the moon. I think 2021 is going to offer a number of surprises for a lot of traders. Some expected and some not expected. I guess you could probably say that about any trading year, but 2021 is going to be most interesting. Keep in mind that the markets all finished in the US here at highs, all-time highs on Friday. The only one that pulled back just a little bit was the Russell, which had one of the best Novembers in recorded history and had one of the best quarters for the Russell in recorded history. In fact, if the Russell made its year in 6 weeks, that was about it. If you were not in the Russell for those 6 weeks from November through mid-December, you missed the entire run in the Russell 2000. So what I want to do is just kind of go through a couple of things with you guys and just kind of show you where we're sitting here on these markets. This will be a holiday shortened update. For our trader members and our user group, we're going to pick everything up not this Sunday evening, but the following Sunday evening. We'll take a look at some key markets. We'll look at key asset classes where I believe 2021 is going to offer us a lot of opportunity and where the pitfalls are going to be, and then some of the differences in some of the analysts and what I believe can happen as 2021 starts to unfold. So why don't we jump into the markets here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze my screen for a second and just shift things around. Well, let me just do this here as we move through it. Let me just move over here like this. Let's get it over. Here we go, right here. Let's switch over to the E-mini, S&P 500 E-mini futures. Had this cough for a while, folks. No, I do not have COVID. Excuse me. So what we see here is the E-mini S&P 500 futures. And before we dive into the details, hang on just one second. Sorry, folks, had to clear my throat. As you can see, we finished at all-time highs. Also 2020 highs, last day of the trading year. 37.53 for the E-mini S&P 500 futures. You can see I had called these peaks back when the E-minis were below, we were in the red for the year, back as early as late September. And I had these projections up here. So for members that followed us, we did very well with these financial projections that I had, or trading price action projections for the S&P. Now, if we look at Nasdaq, one other one, and technology has kind of carried us through almost for the past decade, to be honest. I mean, it's just moved up very strong. But now if we take a look at the Nasdaq futures, this is the 100 now, Nasdaq 100 futures. You can see that we hit our all-time highs back on the 29th. So it was earlier in the week, but we've held these up here. All-time highs for Nasdaq 100 futures. Now, if we look at the Nasdaq Composite, you will see here in the Nasdaq Composite, same thing, same day, right up here like this. Really strong activity. But let's look at this index, this custom index I've created. I've shown this many times. This is what I call the Fang Index. In this index, I've crafted Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, and Amazon, okay? And I've got a multiplication factor to take care of the weighting. And you can see the last all-time high in these Fangs was back on the 2nd of September. Now, as I've told you guys, and you heard me for my weekly updates, I've been talking about this for some time. We are not at the peak of our bull market. In fact, I think 2021 is going to be a strong year, but not without a 10 to 15% pullback, scare the children moment. I believe it's going to happen sooner than people think, but it's going to give opportunity for those bulls that are not afraid to wade into the wading pool here, jump in and use that as a buying opportunity, which I think most big money is going to do in 2021. Going into 22, 23 timeframe, we're going to have the mother of all bear markets. I think it's going to come back 40 to 50% at a minimum, and it's going to be pretty ugly. But for now, we got to play what price action is dictating to us. And you can see we've had this sector rotation out of growth into value. We're going to see at least some strong opportunities in financials and cyclicals. I've been talking about industrials now since early October. I've been talking about cyclicals and financials. These are going to be some strong areas. Not that technology is not going to be strong, it will be, but return on capital basis, I think you're going to see some really good plays here. If we look at Asia, the tracking stock for Asia, or China rather, is Asher. You can see here with Asher, we closed at 2020 highs on the last day of the year for China. We take a look at emerging markets, EEM, you're going to see the same thing. If I can find it on the screen here, let me just put it in here like this because I know it's up there. If we look at EEM, you're going to see here also we hit the 2020 high for emerging markets. So you're seeing this breakout in emerging markets, China, Asia, Pacific area, all of these just really doing really well, okay? And let alone all the U.S. indexes. If we look at the Russell, as I said before, the Russell is near the all-time highs. It made the all-time highs about 4 days ago, earlier in the week. Any pullback here should be bought in the Russell. Okay. Now, if I'm going to take you down, let me just show you the countries and which countries have done fairly well here. Let me just find it on here. I know I got it in here somewhere. Here we go. Now, believe it or not, one of the very strong countries that's just really gone crazy is South Korea. Okay, remember, South Korea makes all of its money through export, okay? And the ETF that tracks South Korea, Echo Whiskey Yankee, look at it. It is to the moon. Really strong move in the South Korean market. I mean, if we look at this and we look at the pre-pandemic, which is right here at this level, I'll just put it on the screen here. That was the pre-pandemic high, and it came back and it tested it for about 3 or 4 months, and then it just took off. It just like the Russell 2000. Once we got through into November, it just went crazy. It went ballistic. Again, if we look at some of these emerging markets, look at Japan. Japan also, if we look at the pre-pandemic high for Japan, right here in this level right here, you can see it also made 2020 highs. Now, Japan doing this is really unusual, but it's done fairly well, really kneecapping the pre-pandemic high, and it's done very well. Some of these others, like Latin American markets, like if you look at Latin America, nowhere near the pre-pandemic high. And if we look at Brazil, it's going to be the same thing. Very underwhelming, underperforming. You can see the pre-pandemic high is way up here around 48 and it's down around 37. Okay. If we look at the Eurozone, let's just take a look at the Eurozone. You can see here it's moving above the pre-pandemic high. Okay, near the 2020 highs here this past week for the Eurozone. But if we look at Great Britain, right, and just kind of see where Great Britain is shaping up. Let me just find it on here. I know it's on here. Where are we here? Here we go, the UK. Echo Whiskey Uniform. You can see it on here like this. Here's the pre-pandemic high up here, well beneath. And of course, this is attributable to the Brexit. Now that they finally ratified the Brexit as of midnight, December 31st, I think this is going to be a good opportunity in 2021. Okay. And so we're seeing a lot of these countries here perform very well. Those that are not performing very well would be in the Latin American markets. Okay. The Eurozone. So now let's focus on the Eurozone for just a minute here. If we come over here and we look at currencies,
You remember what I told you about low-hanging fruit? Okay, if we look at the euro, we look at this euro currency here. It had it had 2020 highs right here as we went through the end of the week, 123.3 to the dollar, 1.233 to the dollar. This was my initial target. Down at this level down here, when the euro is around 116 to the dollar, I told you guys, so I was giving you guys a freebie on our weekly roundup. This is what I call a low-hanging fruit trade, meaning just pull it off the branch and start eating away. It's a great fruit. Bull put spreads would be kind of a great trade, or you can just trade euro futures and Thinkorswim. Really great trade setups here in this. And obviously, I said the dollar was going to get crushed. And if we look at the dollar, right, this was right around here. The dollar has come down. It got crushed. It made new going into the end of the year. 2020 lows. It closed near the low for the year before having a little bit of a rally towards the last trading day of the year. But outside of that, it hit my level and just kept right on going down. Now, I do believe this course in the currency market is going to reverse a little bit when we get that 10 to 15% pullback, but any rally in the dollar should be sold. Okay. Right now, it's kind of a crowded trade. Everybody's shorting the dollar, going long the euro. And just some really great trades to be had in currencies. I love it because currencies tend to maintain a trend. So look at the Brexit. Brexit has really, and if you guys remember, I said longer term, I am long the British pound. It is a great trade. I think the British pound is going to be up around $1.43 as we move through the year. Once they get that all sorted out and start to sort out their trade agreements with each country, it's not going to be as bad as people think. I think the British pound is going to be a great trade. So for members, these are just some of the macro themes I'm looking at for the new year. Okay. If we come in and look at treasuries, here's another macro theme. Everybody's jumping on board this thing. Anytime bonds moves above the 50 EMA, which is this red line, you want to be a seller of bonds. Basically, interest rates are going to shift higher, which means bonds are going to shift lower through 2021. Now, when we do get that 10 to 20% or 10 to 15% pullback in the early part of 2021, we're going to see interest rates come down and bonds go up. Use that as an opportunity to take the other side of the trade and sell into it, meaning if bonds moves back up, you're going to want to be selling into any rally in bonds in 2021. It will be completely different in 22, 23. All right. So these are just some of the main headline themes that I'm looking at here. And of course, if we come down here and look at precious metals, as you can see here with copper, we've been long copper. This was one of the 10 assets that I told folks to pick up in early April for our members. A lot of our members took a lot of these and it's just done very well. Some of them are up 400%. Some of them are up a little bit less than that, but every one of them is just a home run trade. You can see copper's following this trend line all the way up. You can see the red line, which is the 50 EMA. The blue line, which is the 12 EMA, just following price action nicely. Now, a little bit of a pullback is going to be in order, especially when we get that pullback, that 10 to 15% pullback. Use it as a buy-in opportunity for 2021. Copper goes where China goes. China shows a strong year, then copper's going to show a strong year as well. And everything just got so discounted back off this pandemic low on March 23rd. This, again, low-hanging fruit trades. We love those kind of trades because the risk of an opposite move in the other direction, counter to our bias, is a very low probability kind of trade. So that's copper. Let's look at gold. I believe gold is going to be another one. Notice here, we just broke out of this upsloping trend line. I think gold is going to react to the dollar. So with the dollar falling off the table, the euro getting stronger, I think you're going to see gold move up. Now, when we do have that 10 to 15% pullback, gold's going to kind of run sideways to back down again a little bit because we're going to see some strength in the dollar. But use that as a selling opportunity for the dollar, a buying opportunity for gold for 2021, right? Again, just for 2021. Now, rather than doing gold, I'd highly recommend silver because silver is going to be the better play. All right. On a return on capital basis, you can see silver is already well ahead of gold, moving up, trying to take out his 23.6 fib pullback from the highs that it made back here back in 2020. It says 2016, but it should be 2020 highs here. So that's a little bit about what I'm looking at some of these trades here in industrial metal, which would be copper, and then silver and gold. All right, these are just really good trades. If we come over and look at energy, and if we look at oil for a minute, just kind of see where oil is, it's going to have a hard time getting much higher than this up into the 50 area. Remember, oil is kind of a cyclical play on global growth. And if global growth is strong, you're going to see oil strong as well. Hang on just one second, guys. Let me just get this all squared away here like this. Hang on a minute. Where are we? Here we go. Hang on. Okay, I'm back at you. So I think there's going to be some interesting trade setups in the oil market as well. Nat gas, I think nat gas, any rally in nat gas should be sold. So these are just some macro themes I'm looking at. We have some others in the ag market, meats and salts. Some of these ratio charts are setting up for us to look at some other really cool trades. We've got a lot of stocks here that I think are going to outperform. Others are going to underperform. So we're going to be looking at as we go into 2021. If you're not a member of our group, I highly encourage you to come in. We had a great 2020. That was followed by a very strong 2019. I think 2021 is going to be even better. There's going to be some surprises in 2021 that are going to catch people off guard, and it'll be really good for us. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody. Happy New Year's. And members, we're taking this Sunday evening off. I will see you guys for our pre-market session this coming Wednesday morning. Everybody else, have a great one. See you guys. Ciao now.